Hello and welcome to a Newsroom series on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Today our focus is on the Southwest region, but first, our top stories. We start off from the court, where Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja has turned down a request by the immediate past governor of Ogun State, Yahaya Bello, seeking the release of his international passport, saying that the medical report attached to the application was not signed by its maker. Delivering ruling, Justice Nwite, however, held that contrary to the submission of the prosecution team, the application was not an abuse of court process. The defendant had applied for the release of his travel document to enable him travel to the United Kingdom for medical attention. The judge explained counsel to the defendant argued that the applicant was a known hypertensive patient for about 15 years. The lawyer, Joseph Daudu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, was also said to have presented Exhibits A and B, which constituted expert report on the health status of the applicant, saying that sufficient materials had been placed before the court to exercise its discretion in favor of the applicant. The judge also recalled that the prosecution team argued that the application was an abuse of court process. While urging the court to dismiss the application, a counsel to the prosecution noted that the relief sought were similar and that the motion was technically incompetent as the sureties to the defendant were not informed. Let's now head to Ogun State, and indeed it's interesting times that lie ahead for workers there, as Governor Dapo Abiodun has said that his administration will commence full implementation of the contributory pension scheme for this month of July 2025. He gave this pledge when he met with the organized labor to address the grey areas in the implementation of the contributory pension scheme and other sundry matters that led to the ongoing strike embarked upon by workers in Ogun State.
This meeting, convened by the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, seeks to resolve some of the major industrial disputes between the government and workers. In attendance are members of the Ogun State Executive Council and labor unions. There are many issues on the agenda that need resolving, but discussions dwell largely on the controversial contributory pension scheme.
They are retiring the next 5 years.
Governor Abiodun assures the unions that there's nothing to worry about as the state is implementing the immediate commencement of the contributory pension scheme for the workers.
We'll pay outstanding contributions plus ROI for retirees who are retiring from July 2nd, 2025 to July 1st, 2030. We'll make that immediate payment so that those that will be retiring the next 5 years, we'll make that payment immediately.
In their submissions, representatives of the labor unions demand immediate action on other demands.
There must be a condition that will bind our decision. As we are here, we have just made this evening, and our decision is even contrary to this part. Rather, I think the best we can do is after this meeting, if we are still able to lower this meeting down, then we talk to our people. We are more than this. It's a very good one. It's a wonderful thing. If all these obligations will be made according to your postulation.
As rightly said by my colleague, our action is not to cripple the economic or stability of the state, but it's just to call your attention, because we are being inundated with a barrage of criticisms, attack, and insults and questions from our members, most especially when the amended 2006 pension reform law started on July 1, and the silence of government on the matter.
In the meantime, activities at the government offices remain paralyzed as residents call for quick resolution.
They are right. When they deducted the money from them, why can't you go give them? It affect the family also. Yeah, they cannot eat well.
Come to the middle and settle this cause, so that we want our people to be able to live their lifestyle. We want every sector of the labor market should start functioning.
Further engagements are expected in the course of the week between the state government and the leadership of the labor unions.
In a bid to encourage more vocational and technical education, the Lagos State government is set to establish additional 5 technical colleges with the existing 5 to make them 10 across the 5 divisions of the state. The State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jamiu Ali Balogun, made this known at this year's Lagos Youth Skills Day in Ikeja, organized by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant on Technical Education.
It's the 2025 Lagos Youth Skills Day. Senior government officials from the State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, students from the 5 government technical colleges, among other stakeholders, are here for the annual occasion to showcase the skills of students attending vocational schools and its importance to nation building.
The world has been taken over by technology. It's a force and it's the best.
One thing that particularly impressed me was the level of confidence. And one of the things I say is, no matter what you do, be confident at whatever it is you're doing. If you are cleaning, if you are just a cleaner, clean so well that if you are not in the office for 2 days, your boss will say, who cleaned this place today is not this person, because there will be a difference. Because you are in technical schools, make you no less humans than those that are in just the schools where they practice academics. You guys have a super edge over them.
The State Executive Secretary of Vocational Education Board and others emphasized the importance of skills education.
This year's theme of the United Nations, I'm coming to our theme, youth empowerment through AI and digital skills, is especially relevant in our society, where innovation and practical skills are merging to shape the leaders of tomorrow.
If you believe, if you are not a lawyer, if you believe, if you are not the governor of Lagos State, you will not make the impact to save the world and environment, then we are joking. Because as we are talking here, some tailor in Nigeria have started swinging destiny.
The State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education says the government is set to establish additional 5 technical colleges. Is asking parents, community leaders to champion the campaign on vocational skills to increase enrollment of students who will become problem solvers in the society.
Mr. Governor has agreed to increase the existing 5 government technical colleges to 10 within the next 2 years. This is in line with the renewed hope agenda of our President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I urge all stakeholders, including parents, educators, and industrial leaders, to join us in this crusade. And let us work together to equip our young people with the skills and competencies they needed to become leaders and change makers that we envisioned. Congratulations, ma.
Some vocational skills entrepreneurs receive award recognition for their contribution to youth development in the state.
Congratulations, sir.
Once you are skilled, once you know how to work with your hands, you can never be hungry. That means that you will always be employable. You can, either you're able to work with a company, or you can even create a company yourself. Kudos to the Lagos State government. Kudos to the government for the renewed hope, because I think the hope is actually really being renewed. Coming here today, I'm really, I'm inspired. I'm really, really happy that this is happening, and I can see the quality of the students as well.
The 2025 Youth Skill Day event is a call to action on the part of the government to review and upgrade vocational colleges' curriculum in order to equip tomorrow's leaders with skills that will make them competitive in the 21st century economy.
In order to reduce brain drain and infuse life into the healthcare system in Nigeria, appropriate policies to incentivize and strengthen capacity of healthcare professionals must evolve and backed with adequate funding. This formed the crux of submissions at the end of the 37th Annual General Meeting and Scientific Conference of the Committee of Directors of Health Services in Nigerian Universities, which took place at the University of Ibadan Conference Center in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. A former governor of Ogun State, Dr. Olusegun, who joined other practitioners at the conference, noted that only a healthy nation can dare to be prosperous, so proper funding and effective monitoring must evolve to salvage the nation's health sector.
The University of Ibadan is hosting this crucial conference for the first time in over 30 years to bring together ideas to strengthen the health sector right from the universities and develop an actionable framework that could become an adaptable culture for a healthier nation. Professor Kayode Adebowale, in his address at the conference, admonishes participants to take collective and strategic responsibility in discharging their roles, as the quality of university health services is vital to institutional well-being.
I charge the directors that your gathering here under this team places a greater significant responsibility upon your collective shoulders. This meeting should not be taken as just a ritual, but a strategic imperative. I urge you to engage frankly, to share realities, successes, struggles. I urge you to identify common challenges, pinpoint the systemic issues that is hindering optimal service delivery across board.
The conference, a forum for collaboration, innovation, and knowledge sharing among university health directors, also x-rays key challenges facing university health centers, to include poor funding, staff shortages due to brain drain, and infrastructure decay.
The outcome of this conference is wake-up calls on how to improve health services for the overall benefit of staff, students, and would-be clients in neighboring communities. Some of the areas that require great attention in our various universities' health services department include, but not limited to: 1. Inability to access funds for proper implementation of health insurance programs of the federal government for our staff and students' teaching as provided in the guidelines. 2. Understaffing of the university health centers due to brain drain and attendant excess workload on the state patriotic members without any motivation in sight.
In making sure that the health of university is safeguarded, this meeting is to bring all of us to a minimum level of acceptance for operations, for activities, for policy, for whatever is required for university to be excellent in their output, in their living.
Former Ondo State Governor Olusegun, who doubles as a practitioner and guest of honor, says the prosperous nations of the world are investing heavily on their health sector and encourages Nigeria to follow this trend. He adds that government must incentivize the health sector to prevent further brain drain and engage diplomatically with the countries poaching Nigeria's best brains.
The major bane of the health services in Nigeria is the level of funding. Now, it's another issue how funding is utilized. Well, let's talk about the quantum of funding to service. We had hardly gotten about 5% of the budget for health, whereas the Abuja prescription, the 2001 conference in Abuja prescribed 15%. So we need to ramp up the funding for health.
Despite claims by government to the contrary, he says the current funding is at below 5% of the national budget, and this must be drastically increased as a matter of national emergency to reverse the disturbing trend of brain drain.
Energy experts across all spectrum are calling for a proper alignment of thoughts and processes between the government, private sector, and institutions to make energy security an achievable mission for Nigeria. Stakeholders at the third Diran Faribe annual lecture series in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, called for holistic development of a national framework to achieve sustainable energy access, encourage affordability, reduce losses, and promote security. Now, the lecture is a collaborative effort between the Center for Petroleum, Energy, Economy, and Law at the University of Ibadan and International Energy Services. Our correspondent, Bukola Orewo, tells us more.
The annual Diran Faribe Lecture Series is a convergence of industry giants, institutions, and policymakers to proffer solutions to problems confronting the energy sector in Nigeria. Here, the town meets the gown to bridge the gap of ideas and find lasting solutions to the challenges of clean, accessible, and affordable energy. According to the experts, the transition from fossil fuel to clean energy sources require a deliberate homegrown approach with strong will to do what is right for Nigeria with adequate funding. The guest lecturer and energy expert, Mr. Austin Avuru, underscores the need for strategic planning towards energy transition, which will position Nigeria for opportunities in renewable energy before the crude oil vanishes.
We should remember that over the next 30 years, the core of our energy supply and energy availability and energy security will be dependent on natural gas. And so we must have the capacity to produce natural gas and distribute natural gas to all the corners that natural gas is needed in the country. And in doing so, we will solve our energy problems and use the resources to then start funding a drive towards renewable energy. It is only by this deliberate planning to ensure energy security, at the same time ensure a transition program that is not only sustainable, affordable, but done in accordance with our plans.
The lecture also underscores the importance of partnerships for the country to scale the present hurdles in energy accessibility and building sustainability with advocacy for collaborations amongst the academia, private sector players, and the government to achieve a viable energy security.
If there is no follow-up action on the proceedings, if they are not aware of what the notable Nigerians and people who have intellectual capacity and professional experience have said about the problem of energy poverty in Nigeria, then the exercise will be in vain.
The experts also argue that as a nation striving for economic growth and energy independence, there's a need for forward-looking conversations and collaborative actions that will strengthen policies and partnerships.
What we're doing here is to make sure that we have first an alignment between the industry and the academia. And like my chairman mentioned, is now next place is to bring it to the government and see how government can be part of this relationship. But we need alignment. We need an intersect. We can't just be all in parallel. Very strategic, very important.
These experts believe that deliberate policies must be put in place to harness resources, especially natural gas deposits, to have cleaner, more accessible, and affordable energy. Bukola Orewo, Channels Television News.
Environmental issues come to the fore in Lagos yet again as the state government for the 18th time has issued a stern warning to traders illegally operating under the bridges in Lagos Island, urging them to immediately vacate the area. Now, the State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, gave the directive during an inspection exercise of drainage infrastructure in Lagos Island, Parkview, and Banana Island. He says once the Lagos Island regeneration project is complete, the issue of flooding will be a thing of the past in the area.
Lagos Island is the first location visited by senior officials of the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, led by Commissioner Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, to assess the progress of ongoing drainage construction projects aimed at preventing flooding in the area. The team observed the troubling resurgence of illegal trading activities under bridges previously cleared by the government.
You see, people can be recalcitrant, and we've said to them over time, we don't want to disrupt their economic activity, their life, their commercial activity. But when you want to do one or two things under a major infrastructure, we have to be very careful. It becomes a chicken and the egg, which comes first? Do we put that commercial interest over safety, environment, and security interest? You were there yourself. Are you happy with what you saw under the bridge today? No. So we just said to them, can you leave? So if at all you want to come back, let it be regulated, but not under those bridges. If anything happens, some of us will start shouting, government had abandoned its own responsibility. But how about we as the people? What are we doing?
Next stop is Banana Island, Ikoyi area of Lagos, where continuous development has partly affected the drainage, but the commissioner believes that the completion of drainage collector will put an end to flooding in the area.
We noticed over time that Tombul has been prone to flash flooding, and we carried out some investigation. We noticed there's a culvert, underground culvert around shoreline entrance of Tombul that is already blocked. So we asked them to come and investigate and see how they can through that. From there, we went to Banana Island Road. The last heavy rain that happened some days back, there was a major flash flooding on that Banana Island Road into Tombul. We carried out our investigation, and we have to do some remedial work and carry out a bit of infrastructure upgrade.
At Parkview, the team was joined by former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Femi Pedro, who applauded the government's efforts and visible progress on flood control.
They brought me here and I could see a real solution. I could see that the drainage line has been expanded much deeper and is flowing directly into the lagoon. And they've assured me that in 3 months' time, this entire work will be completed. When it's completed, the flash flood will reduce. The volume of water entering the estates and staying will reduce. And I know many Parkview residents are listening, particularly those living on this side of Parkview. And they are a bit anxious. I want to assure them that the solution is here. And the state government has listened to our cries and they have responded appropriately.
The Lagos State government is certain that all the ongoing flood control initiatives will keep the metropolis safe, and residents must play their part by keeping the environment clean and dispose waste appropriately.
The Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 6 trailer loads of 50 kilograms of rice, 304 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 7,900 liters of premium motor spirits, and container load of used tires, amongst other contraband goods worth 1.7 billion naira across the southwest region of the country between June the 3rd and July the 18th this year. Addressing newsmen over the development in Lagos, the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, explained that a total of 9 suspects were arrested in connection with these seizures.
A large cache of contraband items by operatives of the Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit in charge of the Southwest Zone. From foodstuff to used tires and illicit drugs, all items seized in the last 4 weeks stacked across 3 government facilities in Ikeja, Lagos. The customs boss is, however, represented by the Assistant Comptroller General of Customs and Coordinator for Operations Whirlwind, Mr. Hussein Ejibunu, who explains that the intelligence-led operations have enabled this proactive interception of smuggled goods, disrupting illicit supply chains and strengthening border enforcement.
It is a gladdening news that a total of 9 suspects were arrested in connection with these colossal seizures. While some were granted administrative bail, others have been or will be handed over to relevant security agencies for further investigation and possible prosecution. The value of the seizures made the duty paid value of all the intercepted items from Federal Operations Unit Zone A stands at 1,784,432,000 naira.
I will always ask you to do more for us. From time to time,
by sensitizing most of the trading communities and some of the stakeholders that may be thinking one way or the other in what kind of operations we do.
In the period under review, the unit also ensured compliance with import and export regulations by scrutinizing questionable declarations, correcting undervaluations, and issuing demand notices where appropriate.
It is pertinent to note that the smuggling that is being witnessed within the country does not only result to revenue loss for the country, but also places additional pressure on already strained fuel supply chain in the country. At a time when the nation is grappling with energy distribution challenges, we cannot afford to allow saboteurs to compromise our national interest for personal gain. Let me reiterate and reiterate unequivocally that the Nigerian Customs Service will not relent. We remain steadfast in our mission to ensure that Nigeria's borders are protected against all forms of illegal trade and smuggling activities.
If this unit found across the bushes and highways of the Southwest have this testament to show, then the officers of the Nigeria Customs Service across the ports, border posts, and creeks need to sit up and show their unwavering commitment to safeguarding the nation's economy and ensuring national security.
And with that, we draw the curtain on Newsroom series. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun.